Welcome to Watermark's Church Leadership Podcast, conversation with church leaders for church leaders. And I'm your host, John McGee. Well, hey friends, welcome back. I've got a quick episode today. I want to share something that's really kind of on my heart, something that I've also been observing in others. And this is it. Say no to say yes. Say no to say yes. Say no to the things that maybe aren't best so that you can say yes to the things that are best, that are the best use of your gifts, that are the things that are going to move the kingdom needle the most. And I want to share, probably just a few thoughts about leadership. I'm mildly excited about that. That will help you. But really, the end of this episode is what I'm most passionate about. I want to share just some thoughts personally for Pam and I that might translate to you. So at the top here, really, here's a quote that I think about a lot. It's from Warren Buffett, not a believer that I know of, but he says some very, very wise things. One of the things I love, one of his quotes and just kind of thoughts is, if we wanted to stop deficit spending in the U.S., the quickest way to do that would be that those who are in the Senate and the House who pass a deficit budget wouldn't get reelected. And he said that would solve the deficit spending problem overnight. And I think he's right. So that type of thinking I've always appreciated from Warren Buffett. But one of the things I think he's pretty famous for saying is that the difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything. Really successful people say no to almost everything. Or you could say, really effective church leaders say no to a lot. They say no to a lot so that they can say yes to the things that are really most important. And so here's just a really quick framework I think that might be helpful as we think about just kind of our leadership. And we'll share these quickly and then get to that part that I'm most excited about. So I think really one of these first steps is just to get clear on your own unique contribution. So what's the essence of your role? Like I asked ChatGPT, how many roles does a pastor have? It was amazing. It said about 60 and it laid all those out. Well, you can't do 60 different things. You probably have about 3 to 5 things. And those are the things that move the needle. They're the things that really only you can do. They're the things that you inordinately feel effective at, that you feel uniquely gifted, called, prepared for. And so what you want to do is kind of get your list of those 3 to 5 things, like of all the things I could do. These are the things that really are the most important. These are my area of genius. These are my spiritual gifts. These are the core things I need to do my job. And you want to get really, really clear. And so the second thing is to then just begin to kind of audit your calendar, audit your life. You're going to ask questions like, does this thing on my calendar, does it fall within my core 3 to 5 roles? Another one might be, would I say yes to this today, knowing what I know now? It's a recurring event. It's a recurring commitment. Knowing what I know now, would I actually say yes to that? Well, if the answer is no, if you wouldn't say yes to that now, then basically look for ways to say no. Another question might be, can someone else do this? Could they do it better? Could they do it as good? And then, so really, I think that the question is, how can I say no to say yes? What can I say no to have a space, to have margin? So I think really what you want to do is just do an audit. And you're looking for things that you can stop. You're looking for things that you can say no to going forward. And you're just trying to find some space. And so recently, Pam and I went to an insurance broker and we said, this is what we're paying for our home insurance. This is what we're paying for our car insurance. And will you just take a look at it and see if you can find us some money? And he did. He came back and he said, I think I can get you the same coverage for less. And that might be a pretty good analogy. I think a lot of times we can do exactly kind of the same thing. We can actually be as productive or even more so by doing less. And rather than finding money on your calendar, you're going to find time to steward. I found money to steward in that instance. You're going to find time that you can steward. And you're going to have to be ruthless about this. You're going to have to be honest with yourself. Should I say no to this thing so that I can say yes to something else? Okay, and number 3, these are the kinds of things that you can say no to. And this is probably the biggest one here. It's going to be meetings, specifically ongoing or weekly meetings. And you're going to have to ask yourself, is it really necessary? Do I really need to be there? Is this meeting even necessary? You can ask, is it effective? Is it doing the thing that we say it's supposed to do? And a question you always just ask is, hey, what would happen if either this meeting stopped or if I stopped going to this meeting? And for me, I am always looking to get out of meetings where I don't feel like I'm adding value or where I feel like I'm necessary. And so I feel like I add value or I'm a good fit in meetings where we're making decisions, where we're solving problems, where we are ideating, or there is just kind of a cohesion element to it. That really is the purpose. We meet weekly with our team, and we do pass on announcements, and we do solve some problems, but really we're just trying to be connected, share what we're working on. And Watermark has a very high relational culture, and so that's not a waste. That's not a waste of a few minutes. But outside of that, I don't want to be in meetings where we are simply just kind of passing on information, where this room has made a decision and we need to carry that to another. Like, that's a really bad use of my time, and it kind of agitates and frustrates me. So I am always looking to get out of those meetings, right? Those are either ineffective or a place where I'm not effective. And I had a friend he was so busy, and we were, roughly the same age, roughly kind of the same workload. And I looked at his life and I said, hey, I think the only difference between me and you is that I look to get out of every single meeting that I can. Like, if I've got a superpower, it might be that I can get out of meetings. And I always want to be a team player. I will always help. I always look for solutions, but I don't want to sit around a table for an hour or two and just catch up or listen to people talk. I want that time back. And I've gotten out of some of those the last couple of years, and it's just given me, it really has just given me space. So you want to look for all of those meetings. Can you get out of them? Could you change the frequency, go from weekly to every other week? Could you accomplish the same thing literally with an email? You never want to leave a meeting and go, this was an email, not a meeting. Okay, so just be ruthless about that. I know you're Christian. I know you're kind. I know you're sweet, but you need to be ruthless about your calendar so that you can say yes. You can say yes to some really important things, some other opportunities, some things that God might give to you. So real quickly, other things you can get out of, things others can do. And it might take a few extra minutes, a few extra hours to train someone else up, but you want to give other people the opportunity. You want to look for all the ways that you can train other people up. So is this something that someone else can do? And here's one I really want to talk about. You want to get out of things that you are doing that you say yes to, that if you're honest, if you're really, really honest, you do them so that you feel good about yourself, so that you feel validated, so that you feel loved by other people. You feel they have a sense of gratitude towards you. And you know this. You know what this looks like. You know it when you say yes. The only reason I'm saying yes is I don't want to disappoint someone. I don't want to say no. I want them to think well about me. And friends, that isn't your ultimate goal. God's given you something to do. He's giving you a task. He's giving you gifts to steward, and you need to lean into that and not spend so much of your time thinking about what other people think of you. And I will say this, white space on your calendar, it's not an indictment. It's actually an opportunity. And by white space, I mean, when you look at your calendar and there's a block where no one needs you, where you don't have to show up, where you don't have to prepare anything. For those of us that are people pleasers, you're going to go, oh, that's an indictment. And what I really want you to understand is that then is an opportunity. That's an opportunity for God to kind of give you something unique that you didn't see coming, to give you an opportunity to invest in someone, give you an opportunity just to think. So many of us are working in our ministries. We are not working on our ministries. And you have to have some time just to step back and go, is this really what we should be doing? Am I using my gifts? Is this effective? And if you are jammed Monday through Friday, everything's booked, you don't have time to do so. You don't have time to just kind of quiet your own soul. And you're going to have to say no so that you can say yes. So other things for me, during times of kind of busy seasons, I really do defer people who ask me to do things. I remember right before Church Leaders Conference this year, all of my friends had written books and they all asked for endorsements, like all in the same kind of week. And I just told them, I can't this season. If you could wait about 3 more weeks, I can get to this, but I'm just going to have to say no to all of this. The other one right now is just connections from others. People are saying, hey, can you meet with this person? Can you have a cup of coffee? And if I said yes to every single one of those, I wouldn't have space to say yes to some of the other things I feel like are my unique contribution. So friends, do this exercise. Get really, really clear on your contribution. Do an audit of your calendar and then think about the kinds of things that you can say no to, right? Look to say no so that you can say yes. And this isn't just a pragmatic leadership talk. This is Ephesians 4:12. You've been given gifts by God to build up the body of Christ. And if you are trying to do too many different things, you're not using your gifts. Okay. So you know this. I'll end with that same quote. The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything. And some of us just need to get good at saying no to some really encouraging opportunities, to some things that would be fun, some things that would be helpful to others, so that we can lean into the things that would be most helpful, most strategic, the biggest gift to the people that we lead. Okay, so now we're at the part that I'm actually most passionate about, and it's just me personally trying to work through, and my admonition to you to work through what it looks like to be faithful during this cultural moment. I just got back from the UK, and we may do an episode on that. Just wanted to see this whole silent revival up close. If you're not familiar with that term, you can Google it. And popped into churches that were slammed with 20 and 30 somethings. They've made it through this secular onslaught, and the church is growing. People are interested in spiritual things, and we're seeing the same things really in the U.S. We're seeing things all over the world. And I think this is a moment. And so I shared an illustration I think about a lot in episode 180 about Herring being there for a moment, kind of seizing the day. And if you haven't heard that, you can listen. But I think sometimes things only last for a season. And so my wife Pam and I are just asking, just personally, hey, what does it look like to be faithful during this season? And we are asking the same thing. What do we say no to so that we can say yes? And the things that we want to say yes to during the season, one is just being a really good neighbor. We've raised kids. We've been faithful at this church. We haven't done an amazing job with our neighbors, and we haven't had a lot of time. And we are asking, what can we say no to so that we can say yes to them? So that when we walk the neighborhood, with our dogs, that I'm not hoping that someone doesn't interrupt us because I don't have time to talk to them. I want to go on a walk, pray for our neighborhood, and look for and hope for conversations. And we've not done a great job just inviting people into our home to, just to have meals, but also to share the gospel, to explore the gospel, to explore the teachings of Jesus. And we think about kind of next year, what we want to do. That really is one of the things we want to say yes to. We want to have more space to invest in young leaders. We want to have more space just to pray and ask God to continue to move during this moment, to pray for our church, to pray for the churches that we serve. There's some writing projects I need to do. And then just generally, just trying to connect and serve others that are doing things that really are of substance, and they're trying to make their one short life count. So those are the kind of things we want to continue to say yes to. And we are asking ourselves, and really this is my challenge to you, what is it that you could say no to? Things that they're not bad, they're not sinful, but by doing so, you now don't have any white space. You don't have any extra margin. You don't have any calories mentally that you can burn to do things that are best, that might actually be a good stewardship of this unique cultural moment that we're in. And so for me, the easy one is just watching sports. So on the weekend, I love to watch sports. If I don't have anything that I have to do, I'll often grab my laptop and put on a college football game. And I've just kind of decided that I'm either not going to or watch very, very few games by myself. Now, if my kids, my friends want to watch games, I'm there. It's not about the game. It's an excuse to get together. But really, I'm just trying to eliminate any live sports watching or delayed, because that is only time that I can't use to do the things that I just talked about. Another one is just kind of prioritizing relationships that are not just acquaintances. So, if you're not familiar with the Dunbar circles, we have most of us about 150 friends. We have 1,500 acquaintances, and we know about 5,000 faces. And what can happen is if we kind of spend a lot of our time with these acquaintances, we don't have a lot of kind of energy to give those that are closest to us. And I just am trying to eliminate just the touch bases with someone that I met 5 years ago at a conference, or someone else that just says, hey, you should talk to this person, because I probably won't talk to them again. And it's not a really strategic use of time. And I can just spend so much of my time meeting with people that I probably never would meet with again, or having dinner with people that I would have a dinner with. I mean, it sounds morbid, but once, that one time, and never again until I die. So that's just not a great use of time. And I'm just trying to think about that. Even the way I exercise, this is kind of funny, but I'm running a marathon with my daughter-in-law this year. It says be her first. And I said, hey, I'll run. I'll be your pack mule. I'll carry all your goo, all your bars, and we'll get across this line together. And honestly, it's taking a lot of time. and it's taking a lot of energy. So we ran 20 miles last week, and man, I was dead that day. I was dead the next day. So it wiped out my whole day just in terms of, the time to go to the lake and run and then come back and shower and all those kinds of things. And then the energy loss that occurred that day and the next day, I thought that's not a good use of time. And so I'm even thinking about just kind of the way that I, think about all of my exercise and making it really efficient. I'm thinking about the way Pam and I spend just kind of our vacations. And I actually have something on the books that I'm so excited about. We just kind of, did a refundable kind of option, and I'm really excited about it. And I just thought, you know what, that always is going to be there. And during this kind of moment, what would it look like for us just to think about any free time we have as an investment, as something that God can use to speak to us? And so I just told her, there's some places in the globe where God has been at work, and historically, maybe there was a revival there, or maybe something happened. I actually would like to go there rather than go climb a mountain or sit on a beach or do something really, really unique. Those will be there, but I want to make sure that I'm saying yes to things, putting myself in really in a spot where God speaks to me. And it generally is things like that. And so we're thinking about even just kind of our vacation. So all of those kinds of things is really what we are, my wife and I are evaluating as a couple. And I just wonder for you during this moment, let's say that kind of the window cracks open and God's moving in the church. He's moving in our country. He's moving around the world. And it's a moment. It's a year, it's 2, it's 3, it's 5, it's 10. What would you be glad that you said no to so that you could say yes to something else that God has for you? And that's where I am today. And that's the prayers that my wife and I are having. That's the conversations that we are having. And I would just encourage you, professionally, to think through how you can say no so that you can say yes. And then personally, what would it look like for you just to be faithful during this season? So that's it, friends. As always, I'm so grateful for all the things that you're doing, the ways that you're making your life count, the way that you are serving others, building up the church. I'm so encouraged to think about the people that will listen to this, the faces that I know. And I want to encourage you to keep going. But I want to encourage you to be thoughtful about your calendars, about your commitments, both at the workplace, in ministry, and then just personally. What would it look like to free up some space? What would God ask you to do with that space? What would it look like to be faithful? So, friends, as always, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, you can reach us at clp@watermark.org. That's clp@watermark.org. We'll talk to you again next time.